Hello, welcome to drvtrust.com. I am Dr. Hemant Kumar. Today we are going to discuss about vitamin B12 and the blood test for vitamin B12. What is vitamin B12? What are the roles of vitamin B12? How do we get vitamin B12 in our body? And more importantly, what are the consequences of vitamin B12 deficiency in our body? We will answer all these questions in this video. Vitamin B12 is part of what is known as the vitamin B complex. So there are a group of vitamins in vitamin B complex. So vitamin B1, 2, 5, 6, 12. Vitamin B12 is also known as cobalamin because it contains cobalt. Now, what are the roles that vitamin B12 plays in our body? There are several critical functions that vitamin B12 does. First and foremost, it is important for proper formation of red blood cells in our body. It is important for DNA synthesis and therefore proper cell division in our body. It is important in maintenance of normal brain function, for normal functioning of our nerves. It is important to maintain energy levels in our body, and adequate levels of vitamin B12 boost our energy, maintain heart health, help us have a healthy digestive system, and boost our immunity. Now, if a vitamin plays such important role, question is, why do we get its deficiency? Well, there are 2 or 3 principal causes of its deficiency. First and foremost is inadequate intake. See, vitamin B12 is found almost exclusively in animal foods, fish, meat, poultry, eggs. These are some of the reliable sources of vitamin B12. Plant-based sources of vitamin B12 are very, very few. So if somebody is vegan or on a strict vegetarian diet, there are chances that they may have vitamin B12 deficiency in their body. Now, even if you have an adequate intake, its absorption may be affected due to certain situations. How? When vitamin B12 is ingested in our food, it combines with another chemical known as intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor is secreted by our stomach. So if there are diseases that affect the stomach, for example chronic gastritis, or in cases where people undergo weight loss surgery and a part of the stomach is cut off, there is no intrinsic factor production, and therefore even if you are taking vitamin B12, its absorption won't happen. Vitamin B12's absorption happens in the small intestine. Again, any inflammatory conditions of the small intestine, like Crohn's disease for example, may adversely affect its absorption in our body. Certain situations, the requirement for B12 may go up. So for example, in growing kids, body is growing very fast, requirement for B12 may go up. Certain medications like those taken for gastritis or antacids, if they're taken over a longer period of time, they may also impact the absorption of vitamin B12. Now let us discuss what are the normal levels for vitamin B12. Well, normal levels of vitamin B12 are between 200 to 950 picograms per milliliter. Levels which are slightly less, say between 200 to 300 picograms, while considered normal, but are treated as borderline because then the doctors may want to investigate further to identify the cause for these relatively lower levels. Any levels below 200 or any levels significantly below 200 would be classified as vitamin B deficiency state, and then doctors may want to investigate and provide supplementation for vitamin B12. Now, something which is so important in our body, what may be the consequences for vitamin B12 deficiency? Well, all the roles that vitamin B12 plays, all of them will get impacted. So for example, it helps in red blood cell formation. Deficiency of B12 will lead to fewer numbers of RBCs in our blood and produce a state known as anemia. It also leads to an increased size of the individual RBCs, and they are known as megaloblasts. So the deficiency of RBCs is known as megaloblastic anemia. Then it affects our nervous system. So it would produce tiredness, irritability, poor mood. B12 deficiency has been associated with higher risk of dementia, poor cognitive ability, sensation of tingling in our body, lower appetite, fatigue. So there is a whole variety of things that are associated with B12 deficiency. Persistent and significant B12 deficiency may even lead to conditions like psychosis or severe mental illness. The recommended daily allowance or RDA for vitamin B12 is quite small. It's about 2.5 micrograms per day. That's about it. But it is important that we get it in our diet and it is properly absorbed. One more thing. About 3-4 years worth of supply of B12 is stored in our body, in our liver. So when the levels start to go down, the deficiency may not be noticed for a significant period of time. Another important thing, vitamin B12 deficiency is reasonably quickly addressed. The supplements in forms of tablets as well as injections are available. So getting tested for vitamin B12 is important, especially if you are on vegan or strict vegetarian diet, and if someone is older than 65 or 70 years, then vitamin B12 deficiency appears to be more pronounced. Vitamin B12 deficiency is easily fixed. There are vitamin pills that are available which are effective. Also, injections are available which your doctor can prescribe, and they very quickly help in getting back to the normal levels of vitamin B12. Hope you found this video useful. For more such videos, visit our website drvtrust.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.